Diamond in the rough, you look as good as Oprah's bank account. I just wanna take you out.
Hey you guys, what's up? We are back at it and we are going to be reviewing 90 Day Fiance Happily Ever After. I'm doing catch up with you guys. So we're going to talk about, I guess, all the shows that happened on Sunday. I'm going to do Happily Ever After. I'm going to try to get to Married to Medicine LA. And then after that, I'm going to be reviewing Love and Listings later on after that. But nonetheless, you guys, let's go ahead and get into the review. So we're going to be talking about all the couples that literally are struggling, hanging on by a thread. And we're going to start with Andrei and Elizabeth. Now, they all are in Moldova. We know that they're going over there to get married. And Andrei, I guess, has got his Moldovan energy back. He feels like now that he's in Russia, he's a new and improved man. And he's just like got this Hulk energy all of a sudden. And I think Libby, Elizabeth is starting to realize all of these characteristics that her parents and her family have been telling her Andrei possess. And you can tell she's kind of really been giving him a pass. Most of the time he's in America, she's just been keeping her head down and staying quiet because purely out of the love for him. Like, she's holding on to this sweet guy that she met in the beginning, but that is no longer there. Elizabeth, it's time to let Andrei go because the way that he was speaking to her and mistranslated what his mom said was straight up foul. So basically, they're over there, eating dinner or whatever, and she's helping the mom, make the food. So, real quick, you guys, I know if there's like a weird glare, I'm over here recording by my window, so if you see like a weird glare, it's just because that's the way the sun is coming through the window. So don't be freaked out about that. If my lighting and stuff is off, it's just because of that. I apologize. But nonetheless, back to Elizabeth. She is, preparing food with Andreis Mom. She's trying to get into, preparing, how it is to, be with Moldovan men. And she thought Andrei was going to be there to, translate because she's like, yeah, I know a couple of words and obviously a few phrases, but she doesn't speak it fluently. And the mom even thought like Andrei was going to translate, but then he just feels like, no, he doesn't have to do that. She's going to have to learn it eventually. Like, oh, she's spoiled. She needs somebody to talk for her. And it's kind of like, dude, you're really being an asshole right now. But they make the food, they come out, and Andrei's over there munching like he's king on the goddamn breadsticks or whatever it was, sipping his coffee and tea. And so she starts asking the mom questions like, how is it over here? Like, is it typically like this all the time? The mom is like, yeah, this is what I do every day. And I just, make it extra special for when guests come. And she's like, that's a lot. Like, don't you get tired? And the mom says, of course, like when Andrei translated it. Andrei's ass lied and sat there and said, oh, we don't have time to get tired. That's not what his mom said. And that right there just goes to show how he knows Libby's not going to take on the Moldovan tradition. And I kind of get annoyed when people who are foreigners get with American women and then expect them to do foreigner traditions. Like, that's not going to happen. You got with an American woman, Andrei, so no, she's not going to sit there and bow down and cook and clean behind, especially while she's out there doing all the working and breadwinning and your ass is staying at home not doing nothing. So then she starts like kind of, nipping back at him, like getting back at him because he's basically telling her, oh, in America you listen, but in Russia you listen double. No. So she's like, is that why you have a job at home? And you could tell like it got under Andrei's skin because he's not used to her like coming back at her about that. Yeah, she mentions like he doesn't have a job, but she has been really letting him slide for the most part. So she's like, oh, you don't have a job like that. Is that why you're still man of the house? He's like, yeah, I'm man of the house. And she was like, oh, that's crazy. Oh, and then he was like, a woman, she's supposed to do everything. She's supposed to cook. She's supposed to clean, take care of the baby, and work. I don't think that's how marriage is supposed to go. Last time I checked, it's supposed to be 50-50, especially if you want to be man of the house. Like, if you say you're going to be the provider, then that means you should be working and providing, Andrei. But later on in the episode, he's gotten too comfortable, if you ask me. So now he's like, oh, you're going to insult me like that in front of my parents? You really shouldn't want to do that. And I'm like, I'm considering insulting. She was just asking questions, and she did it in a very calm tone. It wasn't like she was being rude. She simply just asked, oh, so is that why you don't have a job in America? Like, I mean, I'm sorry if you realize, homeboy, that you're not really pulling your weight. So she's kind of like, I don't know why Andrei's like, I don't know if it's because he's back home, he's getting like this newfound, Moldovan rush, like something about Andrei is not right. So later that day, they end up giving the baby to the grandparents to watch while they go out and hang out with the friends. And, she's asking if he's going to translate. He's like, I thought you were on this new feminist thing. All of a sudden you want a podium. And it's like, wow, like he really has this kind of misogynistic view of women, men role. And he's kind of like pushing back on Elizabeth, trying to ask questions about, if he's going to do something for her, like this is a foreign country to her. But he's kind of stuck in this, you're American, you're privileged, like your family, just typical Americans. And that's really clouding his view about how much of an asshole he's being to her. So they get to the place and he sees all his friends. They've known him for a long time. And they start asking him about how America is. And he's like, have you found work yet? He was like, no. He was like, no, like you should have a job by now. And he's like, I'm not working. Why do I have to work when I have a woman working for me? And he didn't get that Elizabeth understood what he was saying. Even though he was saying it in Russian, Elizabeth definitely heard what he was saying. And now his friends are even looking at him like, that's not how it's supposed to work. We're Moldovan men. We're supposed to provide. We go out there and work. His friend is looking at him like, America is making you soft because that's not how this is supposed to work. And he's like, cheers to working women. And I was like, wow, what is going to happen? The family already doesn't like him. So what is going to happen when they watch this shit back and it's time for reunion time? Like, it's already over for Andrei. So now Elizabeth's hearing him say all this stuff. And then she goes to talk to the girls to the side. And, they're asking how things are with Andrei. And she's like, my sister's coming Jen, but they bump heads because she feels, at least she was honest at this part. She was like, my sister feels like he's rude, controlling, lazy. And she's like, is that typically how Moldovan men are? And the one girl was kind of like, yeah. It was like, they know they're used to these type of men. They are used to being quiet, bogging their head down, cooking, cleaning, and running behind men because that is tradition. Men are just supposed to be the head of the household. And Andrei now has this newfound, surge of I'm the man type situation because he's back home. But when you get back to America, buddy, that's going to go straight out the window, okay? So now she's like, also worried because my sister, we're American, like we don't hold our tongues. She's like, I've been able to, but I don't know if my sister is going to be able to. So they end up leaving and the friends are kind of disappointed. At least Andrei's friends are kind of like, he's not working anymore. He's not doing a man's job. Like he's straight up foul. And then he said, oh, what happened to equality? And they were like, if you're talking about equality, that means both people should be working. He was like, no, he said, because I stay home and I take care of the baby. She doesn't change a diaper or something to that matter. And it was like, I bet if the roles were reversed and Libby has said, I stay home and, change the diaper, you would not be giving her that credit, talking about, that's equality. Then you wouldn't be running that phrase there. I extremely doubt that. So they leave and she's like, oh, did you have a good time with your friends? And he's like, yeah, what'd you talk to the girls about? And she talks about how they brought up Jen and he's already like making negative comments about Jen. Oh, if she says something stupid, she's going to get put in the basement. And I'm just always really amazed how he realizes the family's always saying stupid stuff, but never understands when he's saying stupid, rude shit. Like it boggles my mind. So she's already feeling like you're already being super negative, like, and you're supposed to show them around town. He is waiting. He wants a disaster to happen. He wants to prove to his family that they're just this bougie American family that is going to cause hell and, not follow the traditions and stuff like that. And Andrei, Libby, kick him all the way to the side. Do not stay with him. I just can't. I can't with Andrei. I don't know how she does it. So moving on real quick, let's talk about Paul and Karini. So Paul, brought Karini to America and everything is going completely left than what he had, plans. He wanted to bring Karini back so they had more opportunity. He can make money. But I think what Paul's problem is he's constantly jumping the gun. He's never planning something ahead of time. He was so focused on getting Paul and Karini and their baby to America that he didn't really plan anything. Like he came home to nothing. And I think he automatically just tried to get her to America because in the back of his head, he had already made up his mind that, his parents were going to help him. And he didn't ask his parents. He waited till the day before to ask his mom, hey, can we stay with you? And you're doing that the day before you're supposed to get on the plane and come back to America. No, like the mom is at this point is like, you got to get on your own 2 feet. We've been taking care of you this whole time. They have been helping Paul with getting money to go to and from, is it Brazil that she lives? Not Brazil. Where's Karini from? Some Asian country. I can't think of it right now, but nonetheless, it's like the mom is like, no, because I know this is going to snowball into you staying at our house. So the mom did agree to pay for the hotel for a couple of nights, and Paul trying to get his car situated. That whole thing pissed Karini off because she literally saw that the car was infested with bugs and ants and had leftover, food boxes and stuff in there. It was a mess. But I also do think that Karini isn't really giving Paul the benefit of the doubt. I think she wanted to come to America and already have everything in place. And I can, understand that point too. Like, what Paul should have did was left Pierry and Karini, back where they were at, and then came to America, worked, saved up money, and have everything situated. That way, they're coming to America with already established, place. She had this idea in her head that they were gonna have a yard and all this type of stuff. But really, they're just touring dilapidated double wides that literally don't even have plumbing. The shit is literally 2 seconds away from falling down. Like the pipes was hanging out the bottom. She was like, oh no, like I'm not gonna have a baby in here. So Paul thought he was gonna be slick and have dinner with his mom and basically use Pierry and Karini as bargaining chips and bring them to dinner. But when she did, declined going to dinner, he's like, oh my God, it's gonna be that much harder to try and get my mom, to help me with stuff right now. So he basically is begging his mom. The mom is like, that's your problem. You just jump into stuff and you didn't plan anything. Like, I'm not going to help you. You're always talking about, oh, just till I get on my feet. And she's like, it just seems like my son is never getting on his feet. And I absolutely agree. At this point, he might as well have baby oil on the bottom of his feet because he is never standing up. And it's so sad watching him like literally have anxiety about having this stuff ready for Karini and then takes it out on her. Like, it's just a bad mixture altogether. And at this point, Karini's gonna be like Devin with Jihoon. She's taking her ass back home. So moving on, let's go to Angela and Michael. So Angela is finally ready to go to Nigeria, marry the love of her dreams. I guess Michael, that little special dark chocolate chip of his, is keeping Angela around. So you guys, like, she ends up thinking that she's going to go there, get married. She brings her wedding dress, but she is still concerned about her mother's health. So that's worrying her, but she just knows she has to go there and get married. So of all the men, we can at least appreciate the fact that Michael found a fairly decent place for them to live at. Because we all know from 90 Day Fiance, from the Happily Ever After to The Other Way, every other man has failed with finding some type of decent, living situation. So Michael, I would give you kudos to that point right there. Like, at least have running water. There was a whole kitchen set up. Like, it was really nice. So she's leaving, to Nigeria. She brought her wedding dress and everything, super happy. But when they get there to the apartment, the bed, she was like, as hard as a marriage. And she was just like laughing. But she's like, we're not doing nothing till we get a soft bed. I'm like, Angela, like, girl, with your, with your body shape, like, you can soften the bed. Like, it's gonna end up getting softer. Like, it's gonna work eventually. But then they turn into the kitchen and there's a big ass rat trapped in the kitchen. She freaks out. Like, she's from the country, girl. I know you've seen a couple of house rats. Like, but I guess for her, this was like one of those New York sized rats stuck in like an old fashioned, like snap trap. So he's running around chasing, Angela with the mouse and stuff. And she's like, this isn't gonna work. Like, she's just laughing with him. But you can just tell the energy is really good between them. But from the preview, it's looking like something else happened. And she's like, I don't want to marry this man no more. So we're gonna see how that plays out. Who else was, Colt and Larissa and Jessica. So Colt is going to Brazil, right? He's going to see Jess, and Miss Debbie is tagging along. She's trying to see who this woman is that is trying to steal my son away from me, that has been living with me since the birth of time. He's damn near 40, still at home. Like, this is craziness. So he tells her, things are gonna be different than Larissa. She's like, I hope so. And they take this long ass, plane ride to Brazil. Jess, is there waiting with her glasses, looking like the Brazilian version of Steve Urkel. She, hugs Colt, is kissing him and everything, and Debbie's eyes are rolling so hard, it's not even funny. She looks so disgusted anytime they kiss, And I mean, I get it. Like, you shouldn't be doing all that making out in front of your parents. Like, it's just a respect factor. Like, this is a little weird. But Colt, his little, junior high built self, like, he still looks like he has a long way to go before he hits puberty. Like, that's just how his body is built. But they're ending up going to a hotel, and Miss Debbie gets in the car. She decides she's going to get in the back. And they're literally making out in front of her, swapping spit. She's like, oh my God, really? And Colt is saying he's embarrassed because of his mom's attitude. And it's like, first of all, you know who your mom is. Secondly, quit all the lip smacking in front of her. That is a little nasty. But they end up doing like a little tour where she's showing them stuff, while they're on the way to the hotel. And she's like, oh my God, yeah, look at that place. That's where the kids will be at. Katharina and Dominique. And Debbie's like, what? Jess turns around to her and was like, yeah, our kids' names are going to be Katarina and Dominic if it's a boy. And she's like, I didn't even know Colt wanted to have kids. And I'm not going to lie, y'all, I rarely agree with Miss Debbie, but I can see it right now. Jess is playing the game so hard. She's forcing Colt into seeing this life with her so she can secure the bag. I mean, I can't knock her hustle, but dang, like, Colt is being super naive to the fact that this girl literally only has 8 months left in America, and here she is planning y'all's future kids' names, and y'all have only been together for 2 months? Like, you've only seen her a handful of times. That's a little suspect to me. So Debbie's now even more concerned because she's like, I hope my son is not rushing into this. And I think Colt also does have a habit of doing that. Ultimately, he does not want to be alone. He doesn't want to be stuck at his mom's house literally at the age of 50, like that being the only woman that's in his life. And then on top of that, he's, dealing, he's trying to use his newfound fame he has, to keep getting all the punani he's been, passing, like getting handed to him. I just don't get it. And then Jess was like all talking about, oh, I can't wait to have a long time with Colt. And Debbie was literally standing right there. And she's talking about, having sex with Colt, like right next to his mom. And it's like, ugh. This is going to be really awkward. So, on top of Debbie now seeing that they done planned the whole future together, Chico, chill out. Hey, shh. Chico. Here we go again. Y'all know this dog? Alright, you guys, I'm back. Sorry for the interruption. You know how it is. When Chico feels like he has something to say, he's going to say it. But now we're going to be back to what I'm saying, okay? Talking about Colt and Jess. So basically they make it to a hotel and Colt decides he wants to get the same room. In his head, he thought he was getting a suite. Even if it was a suite, you should have got 2 separate rooms, Colt. Like, you're going to Brazil. You got to understand their suites obviously aren't going to be like American suites. And he... Hush. And so they get to the room and realize it's literally right next to each other. This is not gonna work because in Jess's head, she's talking about, I'm trying to throw this cat on my man. I'm trying to get him to hit it from the bike. Like, I don't want Miss Debbie next door in these twin beds, listening to us. She was like, how are we supposed to... See, she was like, Jess was trying to get it in for real, for real. Miss Debbie's already annoyed. She's like mad at the fact that they're sharing a room. She's laying down and Jess is kind of really antagonizing her low key because she's like, Miss Debbie, like, what's wrong? Like, you work in Vegas. Like, what's the problem? And she's like, leave me alone. I just need 10 to 15 minutes or you're going to take, like, she was getting pissed off. Miss Debbie said, I'm done. I'm done. That means she's done. So Colt is trying to pull Jess away. He's like, look, let me take a shower. She's like, this isn't going to work. The alone time that we're supposed to have, like, we're supposed to be getting jiggy with it. And we can't be getting jiggy with it with Miss Debbie right next door to us, which I agree. So Colt, you need to make some arrangements to get your mama her own goddamn room, okay? So moving on, last but not least, let's get into Kalani and Osweilu. Now, Osweilu, I guess, made his way down to some random hotel. She calls him, or I can't remember if she said either he called her or she called him, and she basically convinced him to come back because it's their son's birthday weekend. Like, you need to be there for your son. Quit making it about you. Grow the hell up. So he ends up coming back to the house, but stays in the room literally the whole day. So now the rest of the family's there. The sister, the dad come, and it's breakfast time, and they're like, somebody's missing. Like, where is Osweilu? And she's hesitant, obviously, to say anything because her dad is about that life. And he has been waiting, as Scrappy, likes to say, to put the paws on him. And he's been trying to keep it cool for his daughter's sake. Now the mom filled, him in on how, he was being disrespectful in the car, saying some stuff. And he's like, look, you got it or you want me to handle it? She's like, no, I don't want you to get involved because I don't want it to get ugly. And dad was like, look, I can make it ugly. And I believe that dad every second. He's 6'10", like 300 pounds. Like, Osweilu, you might want to, understand that's not a battle you want to have. So she goes to the room. He's playing video games, of course, being a brat, and he's acting, I'm not going out there. I don't want to talk to nobody. What's the point of coming out there? She's like, your son's birthday's in a second. Like, what are you doing? And he's like, no, I'm not doing it. So she's like, whatever, comes back outside. The day goes on. She's preparing for the birthday party, and everybody's starting to show up. Everything looks nice. And in the midst of the party, her friend's showing up. She's like, where's Osweilu? And she explains what happened. And they're like, you know what? We're not going to let that ruin our mood. But they're trying to sing happy birthday to the son, and they don't want to do it without Osweilu. So she goes in there and was like, look, are you coming out or not? And she's like, we're just out here waiting on you. He's like, I'm going to come out there whenever I want. And she's like, you need to let me know what's going on, because we're not just going to be sitting out here waiting on you because you want to have a fit. And finally, he comes out, and the dad pulls him to the side real quick, for a little powwow, because he's like, you need to get over yourself. Like, you're over here acting an ass. Your son's birthday. You need to put that shit to the side and celebrate your son's birthday. And all Osweilu could say was, yeah. Like, he wasn't going to do all that back talking he was doing to the mom, to the dad, because that would have ended up in him in the hospital, okay? So he goes outside, and everybody's just kind of like awkward, letting it go by. The sister's not vibing with it because she's like, this is what Osweilu does. He puts on a show. Yes, sister, that's what he needs to do. He's feeling a type of way, but yes, you're gonna absolutely go out there and put on a show. You need to go out there, tap dance like them goddamn walruses and stuff, or at the sea world, and do a whole bunch of type of backflips and stuff, because you're not gonna sit here and act like a child when your son's birthday is more important than the way you're feeling that is completely unvalidated. Like, it has no reason to be upset. Like, you have no reason to be upset, Osweilu. Kalani did not do anything to you. You were smart at the mouth, and you literally told her, but basically what she does as a mom is nothing. When you're the one pushing goddamn yogurt samples at, Whole Foods. Like, no. So they say happy birthday. Everybody goes inside. They're cleaning. And Osweilu does everything but apologize. He's like, oh, the party looks good. He hugged her. And he was like, do you need help cleaning? And it's kind of things like where you're a couple. It's like you don't really say sorry. You just offer up help. Or you be like, or where it's like you argue with somebody and you go out like, I'm going out, you want some food? Like, that's basically how he was trying to apologize. So Kalani's not feeling it. She's like, I'm just disappointed in him. He should have apologized because he's absolutely wrong in the situation. And I'm just, annoyed that he couldn't, put his son first. And she doesn't know how much longer she's going to be able to put up with, Osweilu's ways. And I don't know how much longer the dad is going to be sitting there by the side, because he pinky promised, Kalani and his mom and his wife that, he wasn't going to, basically break his rib cage. But if Osweilu want to call Kalani a lying ass bitch again, yeah, you might be at the pearly gates of heaven, next time, Osweilu. But yeah, that was 90 Day Fiance Happily Ever After. I don't think I missed any couples, but if I did, drop down in the comments and let me know. Tell me, how do you feel about Osweilu? Do you feel like he should apologize to Kalani? Andrei, what do you feel about the way he said that, oh, I'm, staying at home, I don't have to work because I got a woman working for me? Do you feel like, he has the right to be, consider himself man of the house when he's not, bringing in the money? Is there this logic that because just you are the man, just because you are the man, anything you say goes, regardless of you being a stay-at-home dad or being a man that provides and works and brings in the coin for the home? Y'all drop down comments, let me know how you feel about that. We're getting ready to get into love and listings next, so you guys stay tuned for that. Appreciate you for tuning in. Make sure before you go to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and I'll catch all you guys later in the next video. Deuces.